Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another early edition episode of Epic Live. That's right. For the first time ever, we are streaming this episode bright and early in the morning as the Epic is opening its doors. As always, I'm your athletic and event coordinator here at the Epic, JJ Jefferson, and today we are kicking off the road to the Purge. That's right. Metroplex Wrestling has been booming here lately, and I am super excited about having my next guest here to my left. He is the self-proclaimed hero of the people, Mr. Aaron Eagle. Eagle, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Not real sure about the self-proclaimed. I'm pretty sure a lot of people say that. But let me just start off by saying you're welcome for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And like I said, we're here today to talk all things Metroplex Wrestling. There's been a lot of excitement going on. You've been a part of that excitement. So but the first question I kind of have for you is kind of give me and the audience a little bit about your wrestling background. What got you started? What got you into it? What keeps you going?
Yeah, so I got started kind of like every other little kid who watches wrestling, growing up seeing the Attitude Era. For a long time, my little brother watched it, and I used to make fun of him. Told him
Right.
it was silly, it was fake, it was whatever. And then I saw someone get hit by a car,
Oh,
and I thought, okay, this is different than I thought. That was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
okay.
And so after that, I was hooked, and watching every single day that it was on, and just got really excited. Moved up to Arlington in the early 2000s, where there was a local promotion by the name of PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling. Found out, live wrestling just 20 minutes down the road. Yeah, I'm there.
Right.
Would go there all the time. Ran into a guy who was training in the school. Found out that I could also get in the school, even though I was at the time starting 16 years old, or 15 or 16. Asked if I could start training, and they said, yeah, as long as you got money, that's fine. And at that time I had a job, and so I paid for the school, got into it, and stuck with it. And I guess you could say the rest is history.
Yeah, for sure, man. Speaking of history, you're blazing your own trail at MPX. Just to kind of touch on your accolades a little bit, like I said, you are the hero of the people. But not only that, you're a former MPX Addicts champion,
Twice.
two-time Addicts champion. You're a former MPX champion.
Mm-hmm.
And as of right now, you are currently one half of the MPX Tag Team Champions. So kind of touch on how you feel and how you see MPX and where it's grown since you've been a part of all that.
I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, there's not a lot of places where you can go and have a weekly show and get to be able to tell stories every single weekend. It's exciting. It's fun. I took a wrestling hiatus for about 13 years. And so, my first introduction into wrestling, I wrestled for about 7, took a break 13 years later, came back to it, and MPX is here now. And it's very reminiscent of my time when I first started, being able to work a local weekly show and be able to tell those stories. MPX is a lot of fun. I have a good time with it. There's a lot of interesting characters out there for sure.
Yeah.
That's different from when I first started. When I first started, it was kind of, like Land of the Giants. Everybody was huge, jacked up meatheads. Now there's a lot more I've noticed, and I feel like creativity behind some of the characters that are out there. So I have a lot of fun with it. I have a good time. I've got a very creative mind myself, and so I think you guys, if you tune in and you see it, you're going to see multiple different versions of me, and really this is the most fun I've had in wrestling, because my goals and aspirations are different now from what they were years ago.
Right.
Now I just want to have fun, and so that's my goal, and it seems to translate and resonate with some of the fans.
Nice, man. That's super exciting to hear. And you kind of touched on, meatheads and giants a little bit, and that kind of leads me into the next thing that I had for you, because here at the Epic, for those of you that don't know, hopefully you're finding out and you're getting on board with us. But we've had 4 consecutive pro wrestling shows here at the Epic, and it all started back in the summer of 2023 with Texas Toasted. And I want to highlight that because you were a part of that marquee with Keith Lee.
Yeah.
So kind of give me your thoughts and what you remember from that night.
Oh, that was interesting in many different ways. Hard-hitting match, obviously. I walked away from it with a black guy and a chest that was different colors than what it started out as. But what's interesting about that is I started wrestling before Keith Lee, so I remember seeing him come into Texas as a rookie,
Right.
and wrestling him back then. And he was back then incredibly strong, and now he's incredibly strong. He hits a little bit harder now than he used to back then, but it was interesting because you get to. It had been many years since I'd seen him, and so getting to get back in the ring with him after so much time was fun. It was cool. He obviously has made a name for himself. He's done some impressive work over the years, so it was nice to kind of come back full circle and get in the ring with him. Fun, exciting audience. I mean, this venue, whenever you put that ring over there and set it up and get the chairs going, and the way the crowd is just so loud, and it's hard to get that same kind of energy and sound inside the MPX arena,
Right.
because it's a bit smaller and it's closed in a bit more.
Right.
But you can hear it when it's here at the Epic, and it gives me the jitters. It gets me pumped.
Yeah, man, for sure. The crowd energy is definitely something that I know the MPX addicts, as a lot of us faithful call ourselves. Every Saturday night, MPX is putting on show after show after show out in Bedford. And we're actually going to pull something up to show you guys here in just a little bit. But like you mentioned, here at the Epic, you don't think pro wrestling venue because, I mean, we're fitness, athletics, aquatics, fine arts, you name it, it's everything. But to bring in that pro wrestling aspect for the very first time in that summer of 2023, there were over 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time we did it, over 700 people. And then we did it for What a Show, and there was 800 people here. And then we just had MPX Destiny, which was the biggest show in the history of MPX. And I can say the word biggest multiple times because it was the biggest venue, the biggest stage, the biggest matches, which we'll cover in just a second. But kind of that shift from seeing the weekly running Saturday to just being here, it's like no other. And from your end, because I know you were here as a fan for a little bit, and then you're also here as a talent, kind of give me your takeaways of being here at the Epic and what that just means to you.
Well, I mean, the Epic is it's like I said, it's an interesting venue. When you put the ring in the middle, it just kind of changes. But there's kind of, I've noticed a culture here at the Epic that exists whether the wrestling ring is here or not.
Right.
It seems like this is kind of a club. You're part of a group. I got to come in this morning and train in your gym. That was cool. It was nice. It was clean. And everybody seems like they're part of some sort of, like I said, some sort of club,
Right.
And so you walk around here, you see the environment. It's impressive. It's neat. You throw that wrestling ring in the middle of it, and it seems like the dynamics just change.
Yeah, man, for sure, without a doubt. And I think my engineer has it pulled up, so we're actually going to pull over to our YouTube page because, like Aaron Eagle has touched on, like I've mentioned in all the episodes that I've done before, MPX runs every Saturday night out in Bedford, Texas. And if you can't make it physically out to Bedford, you can always support MPX by following their YouTube page. You go to YouTube, type in MPX Network. This is what's going to come up, and you can see the full library of shows. And just to touch on one in particular, right there, the Texas Rumble from this past year, 2024, you were actually the winner of the Texas Rumble. So kind of give me your thoughts and feelings on what that meant to you, winning such a huge marquee match.
That was really cool. I mean, I feel like at this point to do everything. Like you said, I've won the Addicts title. I've won the MPX title. I've now won tag team titles. But the Rumble had a different feel to it. The energy that was behind it. It's one of the most popular shows. I can recall whenever I was thinking about coming back, I actually got a call to have my first comeback at the Rumble. I think that was 2022. Timing didn't work out. It was a last minute thing. And I remember going, man, that's too bad. That would have been a cool return. Though, I mean, it'd been 13 years. I'm not sure anybody would have remembered who I was. But either way, I thought that would be a cool return. So then, fast forward and being able to be in the Rumble, I believe I eliminated the most people, right? I got to win the thing. And then unexpectedly, streamers hit the ring, which I had a field day with. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It's going to be one of the highlight memories. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, but that's one of those that I'll look back on and have some fond memories of.
That's amazing, man. And you kind of touched on the streamers thing, and it clicked in my head because, the streamers hit the ring at Texas Toasted as well for Keith Lee. And I remember seeing you outside of the ring, and you're grabbing the streamers. I'm the hero. I'm the hero.
Wait, those were for him?
They
I
were
thought they were for me.
they were for Keith Lee.
Oh,
Everybody was chanting for Keith Lee.
my mistake. Okay, my
Hey,
mistake.
it's okay. That's why in the beginning of the show I said self-proclaimed hero of the people. But it's okay. The hero gets his praise.
Yeah.
And speaking of hero getting his praise, I want to take a step back to Destiny. Because we kind of touched on it with everything going on in MPX, and of course, CM Pro Wrestling. Every promotion kind of has that big four, if you think about it. WWE, your SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania. For MPX, the big four, at least right now, because there's some shows that are picking up a little bit of steam, but you've got the Texas Rumble, Destiny, Purge, and Purple Rain.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take a look at Destiny, and our engineer is getting some photos up that we're going to share with you guys here in just a second as well, you were the main event that this year's Destiny, because you won the Texas Rumble, which guaranteed you a shot at the title against current champion the Tommy Becker. Unfortunately, you didn't get it done at Destiny, but give me your takeaway from that match.
Obviously disappointment, to go and win the Rumble, to have the the streamers, all of that, the build up. I had a lot of stuff to say to Tommy. Is it Belcher? Is that how you say his name?
Becker.
Okay, close enough. Tommy Belcher had a lot of things to say between winning the Rumble and then going to Destiny. I was amped for that match. I mean, I been doing this for a long time, so sometimes it's kind of hard to to get the energy before you go out there. Sometimes you get it as you show up through the curtain.
Right.
But the whole show, as it was happening, and I'm waiting for my match, like I could feel it building inside of me. Very excited to get out there. I had a strategy, I had a plan, multiple. Sidekick kind of screwed some of that up. People have to take responsibility for their actions, so he kind of screwed some of that up. And unfortunately, I did not get to come away with the victory and the title. I was looking for that 2-time win. But it was still a great memory. It was still a great time. If Belcher thinks that's the end of it, he probably should think twice. Right now, I'm just a little bit distracted. I was winning one of the last available championships at that MPX, the tag titles that I haven't yet held, and so working in that space for right now. But there's no reason that I can't go back to that MPX title at some point.
Well, you're not wrong, because like I mentioned, we do have another show that's on the books. It is the Purge, and that is going to be Saturday, June 15th here at the Epic. But before we talk about the Purge, I just want to show the audience, for those of you that haven't seen these photos floating around on social media, Destiny was definitely, in a sense, it was the biggest show. It was the most epic show. It was without a doubt a special night. And I say that as a fan of MPX. I say that as a fan of pro wrestling. I say that as the event coordinator, being able to put all of this together, and the photos are being uploaded now as we speak to be able to show you. But this particular shot, I mean, it was a packed house. And you kind of touched on it earlier with the MPX Event Center out in Bedford. You're not able to get this size of a crowd just because of the space limitations.
Yeah.
But give me, just looking at this image here, kind of give me, what was your feeling, reaction, seeing such a following for MPX?
I mean, it was obviously exciting, but what I felt during this event was an immense amount of gratitude for MPX. And the reason I felt that gratitude is because this was their biggest event that they'd ever had. And they chose me to be in their main event, right? And I felt honored that they would choose me. I felt appreciative towards the boys in the back who showed me, I was showed respect. I was showed appreciation, claps on the back, all that kind of stuff. Because the reality is I'm here for a different reason than a lot of those guys are. A lot of these guys spend countless hours training and coming up with different ways to be creative with their character. And their goal is obviously to get noticed and go to the big time, go with the AEWs, go with the TNAs, the WWEs. That's not my goal. My goal is just to have fun.
Right.
If something like that were to come my way, I mean, would I consider it? I don't know, maybe, but I'm not on the same mind frame as a lot of these guys are, right? And so these guys who spend so much of their hours and their time and their life just pouring into this, for me to be the guy who gets to be a part of the biggest event and be in the main event and represent the company, I felt honored and I felt appreciative. And this crowd, these shots, you've got pictures of them. I don't need the pictures. I'll remember this just in my head,
Right.
And so a lot of gratitude, a lot of appreciation to to all the boys. I'm still going to cancel them all, but a lot of appreciation.
No, I definitely want to give you props, for all you do inside of the ring and even outside of the ring. At MPX, you're one of kind of the trainers, as you will, because I know me and Palmer have talked about it a little bit because you help out with the youth camp, the kids camp that MPX puts on out there. So there's a lot that you do behind the scenes that people don't really know about, and then of course what you put into the ring. Again, being an addict, being there weekly or watching it on Twitch or on YouTube. I kind of keep up the storylines. So you and I, we go back and forth here and there. But all in all, definitely are the hero of the people.
Yep.
So I'll give you your flowers for flowers
Thank
you deserve.
Thank you. Have you been canceled yet online?
I have not been canceled.
I'll take care of that.
Well, the good thing is I have a get out of cancellation free card, courtesy of a good friend of mine. So shout out 2.5. Thank you for that.
Dang it. Check the expiration date. All right.
Oh, man. Check the expiration date of the guest passes I gave you as well. But before we jump into the final segment that we have, which is all things about the Purge, you brought up the cancellation. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of finishing moves in pro wrestling. I don't think I've ever seen a finisher as devastating as the cancellation. Can you kind of tell me where that came from?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I started doing it probably the last year of my run back when I first started. So it was back in 2007, 2008. And I believe it was Richard Hill who came to me and said, "Hey, check out this move. You should do it." I saw the move and I thought, I'll kill people with that. And he's like, no, you'll be safe. It'll be fine. And so back then I was in an angle with Mike Fox. And it was my first big time angle going for the PCW heavyweight title. And they said, this is the move we want you to use on him. And I thought, that's a big guy.
Right.
I believe, my memory is a little shot, so maybe I'm wrong on some times here, but he was open to trying it out,
right.
And so he was my test dummy on the move, and it worked, and it looked devastating, like you said. And so I used it for about the last year. Then I came back to the business and wasn't as confident in my abilities. So for the first year or so, I didn't use that move, despite the fact that many people were saying, "Hey, you should really use that move again," you know. Right. And so one day I was wrestling Phil Shark.
Okay.
We haven't seen Phil Shark in a while. I don't know why. He was fun to wrestle. But I was asked, "Do you want to do the move?" And I thought, I don't know. I mean, it's not one you can pull out a crash pad and practice on. You got to give it a shot and just hope it works, kind of thing. Because either way, it's got to land on your legs. I guess I could bubble wrap my legs and just. And so gave it to Phil Shark, and it worked, and it was clean. I'll be honest, I don't really know how to do it. Again, I can't practice it, so I just do it, and every time I go for it, it just feels right, and when it connects, I can tell that was the way it was supposed to connect.
Right.
No one's gotten seriously injured from it. But it looks good. It's devastating. I would never take it, but everybody else is open to it. I've never injured anybody. I feel confident I never would, but I wouldn't take it.
I mean, I would not want to be on the receiving end of a cancellation either. So
I'll tell you though, there is an adrenaline dump that happens when you just nail that move on somebody. It's pretty nice.
No, I've seen some angles where, depending on the opponent that you've had, it looks like you're like, oh, I've been waiting on this one. For instance, Tommy Becker at Destiny, when the refs were down and the chips were on the table and it looked like you were going to walk away with the MPX title, I was like, oh, he just hit the best cancellation I've seen.
Oh, it felt so good.
And then next thing you know, the rest was history, as we talked about.
That hit it on him. No one had ever kicked out of that move. Ever. Even years past, never kicked out of it. He kicked out, and the energy in the building it was just something different that I've never heard before. Yeah. It was cool.
No, I remember being up on the track when that happened, and I can actually compare it to the previous show, What a Show, during the Speedball and Elijah match, and how the crowd was kind of going back and forth, and there were so many close falls. But as soon as, the jumping knee strike happened, everybody was like, oh, it's over. And then Speedball won, and they were like, oh, what, I want more. So it was kind of the same thing for you and Becker when that happened, and then the ankle lock happened, and the tap happened. But it's okay, because the Purge is around the corner. Saturday, June 15th, here at the Epic. And I personally am a big fan of the Purge. Tatum was on the last show and kind of gave the insight of what the Purge is, which is kind of that ode to ECW show. It's a show where there's really no rules. Every match has some kind of stipulation. it's gonna get crazy, it's gonna get violent, but everyone's gonna have a good time. And as of right now, we've only got two matches announced. That is the singles match between Maya World and Athena, and the epic death match between Sky and the Carver. But I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. What are you looking forward to at this year's Purge?
I'm not looking forward to it at all. So I'll be honest, that's not my kind of wrestling. All right. When I was a kid growing up, I knew of ECW. I would watch ECW, but I was not a huge fan because that stuff looks like it hurts. And guess what? It actually does. When I first started coming back around the wrestling scene, I came to an MPX show,
Right.
sat in the audience, and it was right before they were going to have a Purge show.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the music play. I saw the video clips, all the gruesome stuff that was happening, and I thought, wrestling's changed. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I want to come back to this. So
Right.
the Purge is not a show I look forward to every year. It's actually a show that I would prefer to just take the night off.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hardcore, like thumbtacks and light tubes and all that stuff. It's not for me, not my thing. And so if I'm ever in a match like that, what you'll probably see is like if the thumbtacks come out, I'm throwing them as far away as possible. The light tubes come out, I'll break them over my leg and get rid of them. You know, like I'm not interested in any of that.
Well, that's good insight to know. But what happens if the tag team titles get defended at the Purge? I mean, you and Caleb have been on a roll.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's quite possible they could get defended at the Purge, and of course, if that happens, there is no rules. You know what I believe? I believe the kid needs to pay his dues, so there'll be a lot of opportunity for him in this match to do that. That's what I believe.
Well, there we go. I'm looking forward to it. And if you haven't gotten your tickets already, we say this every time. I'll echo it. The MPX addicts will echo it. I'm sure Eagle will say it. Hopefully, will say it for me as well. Please go get your tickets at mpxwrestling.com. You do not want to miss this show. It is going to be such a phenomenal night. There's a lot of good talent that's going to be on the card. It hasn't been announced yet, but we still have about 4 or 5 weeks left, which actually brings me to our closing point. And we touched on it earlier with the YouTube channel, how MPX runs every Saturday night. This upcoming weekend is actually called Everybody Hurts. And there's a lot of good matches that have been announced already. I haven't seen or heard anything about Mr. Eagle, but I want to pick your brain a second. I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
So the main event for that match is a fatal 4-way for the MPX title. And MPX management has been on social media all week revealing the surprise announcement participants. So the first one was the final boss, Exodus Prime.
Lame.
Most recent was the rugged one, Gabe Wilder.
Also lame.
And there's still yet to be named that third mystery participant.
I wonder who it could be, huh?
I wonder who it could be. I mean, is there a chance there may be a cancellation in the making? You cancel somebody to get the spot? I mean,
I guess there's a chance, but if people would follow, like, and share all my social media, I bet if they visited enough, they could dig deep and get some answers. So it's really up to them to do their homework.
All right. Well, that's kind of all that we have here. Like I said, all things wrestling, all things with the Purge. Eagle, you kind of gave us your final thoughts, but one more time, how can the people follow you, keep up with you, kind of give yourself a little shout out here?
Yeah, I probably should do a better job of memorizing the social media tags. That's what I've got my wife for, who's essentially my number one sidekick ever. She remembers all that stuff, but I do have an Instagram. I have a YouTube. I have a Facebook. Most active on the YouTube and Facebook. The other stuff she kind of helps manage. So you can find me. There's not many Aaron Eagles out there. The ones who are out there don't look like me, so you can pretty easily pick me out. So yeah, get on there, follow me, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I've got a lot of fun content. If you like kind of what you see in the ring, I have a lot of skits and vignettes and kind of little things that I put on there as well that are a lot of fun on the channel. So if you're entertained by some of the personality stuff I do, go check out the rest of it.
Nice. Well, that's kind of all we have for today's episode. Again, thank you so much, Eagle, for taking the time out. Early morning, it's Friday. You got a good workout in. We got a great episode of Epic Live in. What's next on the agenda for you today?
Oh, I got plenty of cancellations going on today. Yeah.
Minus mine. Get out of cancellation free card has been activated.
Yeah, okay. You hook me up in the gym. We'll let that go. You get to keep it.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us for Epic Live. Please look forward to all things MPX here at the Epic. The Purge, Saturday, June 15th For more information, again, follow MPX Network on YouTube. You can follow them on Twitch. You can go get your tickets at mpxwrestling.com. And of course, for all things The Epic, follow us at jointheepic.com. So again, Eagle, thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Epic Live.